Welcome to the Applying Fades tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to cover basics of applying fade-ins and fade-outs, as well as crossfades on a region and the features found in the Fades dialog box. Let's dig in and start with a simple fade-out. When we listen to this crash track soloed, it's noticeable when the audio just drops out at the end of the region. It doesn't sound smooth. This would be a good place for a fade-out. In order to create a fade, you first have to select the area that you want to apply the fade to. For a fade out, you should select the end of a region. Just start your selection where you want the fade out to begin and drag until you have selected all the way to the end of the region or just past it. Now with your selection made, go to the Edit menu, then mouse to Fades and you will see several options. We will cover each of these, but for now, let's choose Create. Or you can also use the convenient keyboard shortcut. If on PC, press and hold the Control key and the letter F. And if on Mac, press and hold the Command key and the letter F. This brings up the Fades window. Its features pretty much remain the same for all types of fades, so let's go ahead and take a look at most of them. The top left button lets you audition the fade before applying it. The three buttons located here affect the views when you are applying fades across multiple tracks. In the center of the window, you have the visual display. The buttons to the left affect what is shown in the display. Some of the views are best suited for crossfades, so we will cover them all once we talk about crossfades later in the tutorial. The colored line in the display represents the fade's curve. From left to right is how long the fade will take, and up or down determines the volume. You can hold on the line and then drag your mouse to affect the slope. The Out Shape options affect the shape of the slope. Standard creates the continuous fade that is currently in view. The S-curve shape creates a slope that is hinged in the middle. This drop-down menu provides 7 common shape values as presets. Each preset has an icon with the fade curve displayed in it. Selecting one will enable that shape for the fade-out. For instance, Shape 1 leaves the selected range at full volume until the end of the region and then sets it to 0. We want the audio to fade out at the same rate over time, so let's choose Preset 4, the linear preset. The Slope option affects the fade curve as well, but really comes in handy when applying crossfades, so we will cover them a bit later. Dither enables a preset noise-shaped dither that can improve audio quality when fading in or out of silence or applying crossfades between audio that is low in volume. Let's audition how the track fades to silence now. Once you have made the settings you want, press OK, and the fade will be applied. You can now use the Trim tool to shorten or lengthen the fade if you want. If you want to apply other changes to the settings, just select the fade as if it were a region, then call up the Fades window again, make the changes, and press OK. You can also delete the fade without affecting the original track content. Just select the fade as if it were its own region. For instance, you can click on it with the Grabber tool or double-click with the Selector tool. Then just press the Delete key. Also, it's important to note that all created fades are stored in the Fades folder in your Session folder. This is because all fades are non-destructive and are, for all intents and purposes, their own separate audio regions. If you are backing your session up and it contains some fades, you must also include this folder, otherwise your fades will not be present in your session the next time you open it. Okay, let's move on. Let's say you wanted to create a fade-in. Just select from the beginning of a region or just before it all the way to where you want the fade-in to stop. Basically the opposite of what we did for the fade-out. Now use the keyboard shortcut to call up the Fades window. The options are pretty much the same, except now you have fade-in presets and the curve also reflect this. Make the settings you want and then press OK. Again, you can edit the length of the fade and delete it after it has been created. You have 2 other quick options for creating a fade-in or fade-out. For a fade-in, just click in the region where you want the fade-in to stop and volume return to normal. Then go to the Edit menu and down to Fades, then choose Fade to start. You can also use the keyboard shortcut. If on PC, press and hold the Alt key and the letter D. And if on Mac, press and hold the Option key and the letter D. As you can see, a fade-in is created from the start of the region to where we clicked. For a fade-out, just click where you would like it to start, then go to the Edit menu, then Fades, then choose Fade to End. There is also a shortcut for this procedure. If on PC, press and hold the Alt key and the letter G, and if on Mac, press and hold the Option key and the letter G. This can be a big time saver. Now let's look at the crossfade options. A crossfade allows you to create a smooth transition between two regions. This is great for making punch-ins seamless or making smooth transitions between different sounds and instruments. Let's take a listen to the transition between the two synth parts in the synth track. There is a definite difference in the volume of the two parts, and there is also a pop that is introduced due to the slight difference in how the waveforms line up. Listen one more time and see if you can hear it. This is a great place for a crossfade. It will make the transition much cleaner and smoother. Let's zoom in a little and select a bit of space on both sides of where the regions meet. Now this area is where the fade-in and fade-out of the two regions will occur. Now use the shortcut to call up the Fades window. Since we are doing a crossfade, both the fade-out and fade-in shape options are available, as well as the link properties. The shape options work the same. The link options affect how the fade-in and fade-out superimpose on each other. Equal power is best suited for crossfades between different instruments or track material that is different. Equal gain is best suited for fades between regions that are very similar in phase, such as the same instrument but a different take or a drum loop. None allows the in and out shapes to function independent of each other. We have the same instrument but different parts, so let's choose equal gain. Okay, let's cover the view buttons now. The top button shows the fade curve only. The next button shows the curve and waveform. The next button shows the fade-in and fade-out waveforms superimposed on top of each other. This button shows the curves as well as the sum of two crossfaded regions. And the up and down arrows let you zoom in and out on the data in the window. Again, you can click and drag on the fade curves to position them. We want a standard linear fade in and out, so let's choose that shape for each. Once your settings are made, click OK and the fade is applied. Let's listen back and hear how it sounds now. As you can tell, the transition is now much smoother and sounds a lot more natural. Well, that's it. Now you know the fundamentals of applying fades within Pro Tools. As always, don't be afraid to experiment and apply these concepts with your own techniques. This concludes the tutorial.